It's been a long, long summer, but finally, EuroLeague basketball is back, and that means it's time once again for Sweet 16. Tune in.
Great pass from Diamantidis.
There we go, 40 minutes to a title.
David Blue for three. On the mark, David Blue.
Now Spinoulis drives inside, looks for the alley-oop! Corey Higgins just exploding.
Hello and welcome to the season opener of EuroLeague Sweet 16 with me, Moshe from Team Scout, and as always, my great friends and co-hosts, both Aris Barkas from Europes.net and Emmett Ryan, who's back from Ball in Europe. Guys, how are you doing?
Yeah, hello here from Dublin, and it's me here, Moshe. Finally, after all that time back in on the show, short version. I have been slammed with both travel and work, as you may have told from the preview episodes that I wasn't here for. Well, it's I had some interesting places I went to, some of which might even have actually been referenced by Moshe, and some of which may not have been, but he invented somehow anyway. But that's the way that went. But yeah, no, it's going good here in Dublin, and it's great to be back on the show.
It's good to be back, guys. It was a great summer, and the fact that the national teams, for the first time, it seemed in ages, took a rest and everyone got a summer off. It was a blessing in disguise because we were hungry for competitive basketball. It all started with the national teams again in September, but now with the EuroLeague, things are gonna be even more interesting.
And so, yeah, what we're going to be having, of course, is as usual, be starting out with our wonderfully accurately named 4 minute warning. And we're going to then, get into some interesting details there around personal views, what we've seen in the off season. Then, of course, we're going to get into, just, some new sections. So we got a couple of new ones this week, like, Big Talk, which is going to be a fun little section for you all to get used to. And also, we got the Goss coming, which is worth your attention too. Then, as ever, we will get into our predictions. Well, we got a double dose of predictions because not just this week are we doing the game predictions, we're also doing the season forecast for all 16 teams. Very simply, whether they are with it or without it, whether they are going forward or they're not going forward, whether they are hot or not. And yeah, we're going to get right into it. So now, as ever, it is time for the most accurately named segment in sports and entertainment today, the 4 minute warning.
And in this week's 4 minute warning segment, we're going to talk about the top five signings. Actually, we're going to pick our own top five signings of the offseason, let's say. And we're going to try and choose two players to perhaps follow. So, yeah, starting off with Aris. Who are yours?
I think that Wilbekin and Black to Maccabi obviously goes to Olympiacos, even if it happened really early in the season. Mike James, of course, to Milan, and let me pick six: Chris Singleton to Barcelona and Jordan Mikey to Himki. All those players are expected to be cornerstones in their teams, and their performance will dictate a lot about their fate in the competition. So I think that all of these guys are very interesting cases, and I have left also quite a few names outside, like the return of Shane Larkin or Johnny O'Brien or even Zach Leddy in Olympiacos. It will be a very interesting case of a player. So I think that all those guys are expected to have a big contribution to their teams, and if they don't, then their teams will be in trouble. From all those guys, I will be watching pretty closely because I'm also the sideline reporter of Olympiacos in the Greek League. Goes and Lede, but I think that the player to watch, or if you want the duo to watch, will be Mike James and Nemanja Nedovic in Milan because it seems that after many years of trying, finally Milan is building a team which is capable to go to at least to the playoffs. And this depends, I wouldn't say entirely, but in a very high degree to the duo of Nemanja Nedovic and Mike James. If they deliver, then Milano is automatically a contender, even for the Final Four, let's say. I think that it's not an exaggeration because I think that this year the race, at least for the fourth ticket to the Final Four, is more open than ever.
Yeah, signing wise, I think I might be the most boring person to ask about the summer moves, most if I'm being entirely honest. The Pangos and Singleton moves to Barcelona. I think everybody, we've talked a lot about those and, everything else, yada yada. Likewise, you look at sort of Leo to Zalgiris, it's lovely, great for him. And again, I think you guys covered that really well in the episodes I was away for. And then we go Mike James to Milano, and the only thing I can really add to what everybody else in Europe is saying is that it's maintaining their status as the league pass team of European basketball. I'm not sure what to make of Milano yet. I hope to have an answer for that question by the end of this episode. But as in terms of what they're going to be as a win-loss type of team, as a competitive side, but as a viewable side, Mike James is only adding to what we got from Milano last year. What I think we're going to get more of this year is that they will be the most reliable, watchable team in EuroLeague, as in they'll be the side that'll consistently guarantee a bit of excitement, a bit of enjoyment, a little bit of madness, and Mike James just guarantees that as well. But my fifth one, and the one I'm going to yap the most about, unquestionably, is Keith Langford to Panathinaikos. He's a little older, obviously, because we all get older, but he's the guy who we coined the term the Golden Langford for because he's really, really good at getting to the line. And in the one of the preview episodes, Aris was pointing out how this Panathinaikos team, just to be very, very clear to all our listeners, is very clearly being built around what's best to work with Nick Kalathis. Like Nick Kalathis is the focal point, and everything has to work off him. He's got the couple of weak spots in his shooting, but the key point is he knows what he's good at, and he when he enters those areas where he's a little, not perfect, like I think we do overstate where he's like weak in his shooting at times, and I say we, I don't mean this show, I mean as analysts in general. Uh, Certainly he's not an elite 3-point threat, but he's not a complete disaster either. The problem with Nick is he often gets into 3-point situations where it's low percentage threes, and that's due to the good D he's up against. I think a Langford at his side is such a huge, huge impact there because the one thing Keith Langford is very good at is holding the ball and shooting it a lot. As in, he will happily be, there as the safety valve, as the primary option, like both of them, for Nick Kalathis, the creator. So that's going to be very interesting to watch. You've got a simple, pure attacking force there in Langford, a guy who can draw contact, who can get to the line. We've seen that so often, in particular, obviously, his last season in Europe 2 years ago. But I think, I remember even doing this show with you guys 2 years ago and saying that if Nick Kalathis, his ideal backup at Panathinaikos was, Quimo Cologne, who was, of course, the man feeding Langford at the time, just thinking about it, Unix. So, Keith Langford now has the guy who I figure is the better version of Chemo when it comes to Chemo's upsides, which is not a bad thing at all. So yeah, that I think could get very interesting very, very fast. So I think Langford for me is, while some people would say a very, very obvious signing, I think a lot of the signings in Europe this year are obvious. He's the one I think could prove far more interesting than people realize as signings go.
I'll do six like Aris did to make things easier. Tariq, Scotty, and Johnny, of course, of Maccabi. Mike James in Milan. I'm going to pick also Geoffrey Laverne in Fenner. I'm going to say Cheska with Palamboy. And you know what? Let's go with it. Barcelona, I'll go also with Chris Singleton. Although I do think that I'm still pretty doubtful when it comes down to Barcelona. Now, two players to watch. I'd say you should really pay attention this season to Maccabi's two diamonds. They have Yovel Zusman, who has very good potential to become something great for them. Danny is obviously the talk of the day in the whole continent. But we have to be honest. I am expecting, obviously, Yovel to get more minutes. Uh, these are two great talents that Maccabi has. And you know what? I'll even say watch Nigel William Goss, not just because he had a great season with Partizan last year, whenever Coach Blatt picks someone, and as Aris mentioned it, whether it's Ledey or Vesnikov, this usually means something. So again, yeah, so that's about it when it comes down to the players.
And now it's time for a new segment. Well, we are the big show. This is the big league. And it's only right we hear from the big players. So we are meeting a young man from the wonderfully named Happy Valley in Oregon. He is playing with Olympiacos this season. He is in his first year there, having had his first pro year at Partizan last year. He, of course, is a former Gonzaga Bulldog who has seen quite a lot, putting it mildly. He's a former second team All American, Serbian Cup winner. He was indeed the MVP of that Serbian Cup. He's a couple of time academic All American. He's got a ridiculous list, basically. And of course, before he was with Zaga, he was with Washington. He's seen a lot, is what I'm trying to say here. We are hearing now, in talking to Aris Barkas, is the wonderful Nigel Williams-Goss, who was entering his first season in EuroLeague, here on The Big Talk on Sweet 16.
First of all, Nigel, it's good to have you with us, and tell us your first experience from your staying in Greece with Olympiacos.
One, I feel like it's been an easy transition from Belgrade to Athens. Life is pretty similar as far as it's very laid back. A lot of coffee shops. People like to, have a good time and just relax. So in that sense, it's been easy. Just living here for the first month has been easy. And then, I think we have a great group of guys here in the team, and everyone's kind of getting used to Coach Blatt and his new system. It's new for all of us. So it's kind of been fun for all of us to learn a new system and kind of gel together during this first month of the preseason.
Going from the Euro Cup to the EuroLeague is an obvious step up. But on a personal level, are we going to expect a different player from what we have seen last year in Belgrade?
No, I mean I've played the same my whole entire career. I think if you watched me play, my last year at Gonzaga, you saw a similar player to last year, and if you watched me play even the first 6 games this preseason, I've played similar to how I played last year. I'm a point guard who can do a multitude of things on the floor, and I kind of just do whatever the team needs me to do in that particular game. And I think that's kind of my biggest attribute, is just kind of my feel for the game. There's games where I may have to step up and score more, which I've shown the ability to do, and then there's times where it's just my job just to run the offense and make sure that the guys who are going continue to keep going. So I think from a personal standpoint, I think you'll see a similar player, and obviously just excited to play at the highest level in Europe.
Do you feel like a EuroLeague star already?
Do I feel like a EuroLeague star already? No, I don't feel like a EuroLeague star already. I haven't played a EuroLeague game yet, so I definitely don't feel like a star. But like I said, I'm definitely eager to play against the best and show what I bring to the table, and hopefully our team can accomplish a lot this year, which will speak a lot for all of us individually.
The goals are obvious. What will be your dream finish for the season?
I mean, definitely a EuroLeague championship would be huge. Obviously I know, the Greek championship means a lot, for the club and for the fans and everything, but, I don't think you can get any bigger than a EuroLeague championship. It's the best teams in all over Europe. So, I would love nothing more than to win the EuroLeague championship.
And do you feel that the whole Coach Blatt system fits you as a player? Because as you said, you are a jack of all trades.
Yeah, and honestly, I think that's another thing where if you follow my career is that I really can fit into, any system because of how I played last year in Belgrade. We had 2 different coaches, and kind of my production and what I brought to the table was the same with both coaches, even though they were completely different styles. And I definitely think that Coach Blatt has a system where he wants all of us to be aggressive, and he wants us to be basketball players, meaning he wants us to make reads and use our IQ to make the right play. So I definitely feel like his system is one that not just myself, but the team that he's put together, all of us can really drive in.
And the fact that the NBA is watching is one more incentive for you in order to reach your potential.
I mean, honestly, I'm happy with where I'm at right now. Like I said, my main goal is to win a EuroLeague championship, and that's kind of all I'm focusing on. I feel like, once you reach this level, I'm at one of the top clubs in Europe. Obviously, the NBA is the NBA, but like I said, I'm content. I'm not playing, to go anywhere, to do anything. If things happen, then they happen. But I'm really happy with where I'm at, and my whole goal is to win a EuroLeague championship right now.
And now we move on to our hot or not section. We got a very simple way of grading this, folks. If a team is hot, it's going to the playoffs. If it's not, it's not. but we've got a few extra grades here just to make things a bit easier for all three of us. We have okay, which means they might get to the playoffs. We have sizzling, which means they've got to go all the way to the final four. And just shy of that, we have very hot, which means they're going to get home court advantage. So that goes from not okay, hot, very hot, sizzling. And gentlemen, the way we're going to do it is simple. I will name a team, I will give my grading there, and then y'all will say to me what you think. So we're going to start off very simply. I'm going to go in team order as they are alphabetized by the EuroLeague website, which of course means some sponsorship stuff gets a few teams a bit higher up. Yeah, I mean New Milano. So we begin. Anadolu Efes Istanbul. Okay.
I agree with Emmet on Anadolu Efes. They are okay.
Anadolu Efes, I'd say you guys are okay.
Armani Exchange Olympia Milan. Not.
Milan is hot.
I'll give you the benefit of the doubt. You'll be hot, but you better make it, even though you got like tons of question marks surrounding you. So better not disappoint.
Budoknost Voli Podorica. And I'm so sorry for the pronunciation there. Not.
Budućnost voli Podgorica. It's not.
I'd say not, even though they're going to be one hell of a fighting team.
CSKA Moscow. Sizzling.
CSKA Moscow is very hot.
Sizzling.
Darüşşafaka Tefkin Istanbul. Not.
Darüşşafaka is not.
Not.
FC Barcelona Lhasa. Okay.
I'm afraid just okay.
I'd say you're okay, as I am giving you the benefit of the doubt. You can easily be not.
FC Bayern München. Okay.
It's okay.
At least not this year, guys. I'm going with not.
Fenerbahce Istanbul. Sizzling.
Fenerbahce Istanbul is very hot.
I'd say they could be sizzling, but we'll take it down a notch. They are somewhere between very, very hot and sizzling.
Herbalife Gran Canaria. Not.
Gran Canaria is not, despite their hot climate.
This year in the EuroLeague, yeah, guys, I'm giving you the not.
Khimki Moscow region. Hot.
Khimki Moscow region is hot.
Now, I'm going to surprise you guys. I know that Emmett and Aris are expecting them to be in the playoffs. I am not. Even though they have great players, I'm just not sure.
Kirolbet Baskonia Vitoria. Hot.
Baskonia is hot.
Guys, you're hot simply for the fact that you've got a great house to play in and you are hosting the Final Four.
Maccabi Fox Tel Aviv. Okay.
I'm kind of divided, but let's say that they are hot.
Now, Maccabi, they would have been an easy hot pick for me. Now, looking at their schedule, which is like 6 away games, they're starting off with 6 out of 8 games on the road. This could be an okay. I'd like to say hot, but it's somewhere between an okay and hot.
Olympiacos Piraeus. Hot.
Olympiacos is also hot.
Sizzling.
Panathinaikos Athens. Very hot.
Panathinaikos is hot.
Very much depending on the second round because, well, let's be honest, it's a long and brutal season. So, yeah, I'm going with hot.
Real Madrid. Sizzling.
Very, very, very hot.
Madrid sizzling.
Zalgiris Kaunas. Hot.
Now, Žalgiris, you've set the bar last year. So, yeah, you have to be hot. So, yeah, that's it.
And now it's time for our games of the week. Let's look at the Thursday slate first. CSKA Barcelona, Panathinaikos Maccabi, Bayern Efes, and Real Madrid Darüşşafaka. Then moving on to Friday, it's Budoknost against Milano, Khimki against Olympiacos, Zalgiris against Baskonia, and Fenerbahce against Gran Canaria. And, well, now I'm going to be picking my game here. I'm going to be going, this is the game, yada, 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 and all this. But here's the thing. I also have to look at what I've done literally for Ball in Europe's site, because this is round 1 of games now, and for every game beyond this, I think I'm allowed to deviate from my own bit of work, lads. But it has become almost too easy to, because it turns out that when the slate was first announced, I got the order of 2 of the games wrong. Fortunately, that order of games was in this round, and both those games basically alternate with one another. So I had listed Bayern and Efes as the game to watch on Friday. It is, of course, the game to watch on Thursday. And I listed Budućnost against Milano as the game to watch on Thursday. That's my game to watch on Friday. So still the same games of the week for me. And that was a very good chance of being the last time I observed that at all. But, that's that. So let's get to my actual picks. Well, I'm going to be painfully boring to start off the season. Hopefully that won't change. But I'm going CSKA over Barca, Panathinaikos over Maccabi, Efes for the road win at Bayern, Real Madrid, Milano for the road win. Sorry to our Montenegrin listeners. Olympiacos to force Kimki to the brink, but not enough Kimki with the win. Zalgiris and Baskonia to be a belter, but Zalgiris to squeeze it out, and Fenerbahce, sorry, to beat Gran Canaria. So they're my 8 picks. Let's go over to you boys.
Well, I mean, you're going way too much with the safe side. Though this time I think I'm close to your picks or not. We'll see. My games to watch. I honestly wanted to pick CSKA Barcelona on the Thursday game, but no, I'm going actually with Maccabi Panathinaikos. I do think the CSKA right now has the better chemistry. They have all the better, uh, um, all the things are going in their direction. The roster is running together much longer. The chemistry and well, simply it's CSKA versus Barcelona, and Barcelona they have a lot of work to do. So yeah, Maccabi versus Pau. Obviously, well, it is always an instant classic between these two teams when they clash together. Yeah, that's on Thursday. The Friday games, I am torn between Baskonia versus Žalgiris and Olympiacos versus Hinki. Um, so yeah, it's I'll go though with Hinki versus Olympiacos. And yeah, here are my picks. CSKA going to take the W against Barcelona. Maccabi are going to pull off a shocker and bring down the walls of the OAKA because I think the best chance that a team would have with the OAKA, at least in the first round, would be in the game opener. Bayern would keep their home safe. I don't know why I just have this vibe that could prove to be uh, a very high price to pay. Madrid with the W against Darushaфaka. Milan going to win on the road against Budućnost. And by the way, Milan, if you're not taking this win, you're going down my rankings at the hot or not. Just do note that. Now, Friday, we continue with the Khimki Olympiacos. I would like to go all day, every day with Coach Blatt. I think that Olympiacos are in a better place at the moment. Žalgiris with a win over Baskonia, though it's not going to be easy. Baskonia had a an amazing matchup against Žalgiris last year. And it's going to be interesting to see if things change. Like, the Baskonia minus Rodrigue Bobois, obviously, Žalgiris minus Pangos, and see how all of it comes together. So still, I think Žalgiris will take the win, and Fener obviously would take the win. Anything other would be a shocker. So yeah, these are my picks.
I think that the game that everyone wants to see is CSKA against Barcelona, and the reason is obvious. Barcelona is trying to build a strong team, and if they manage to prove against CSKA on the road that they are a team capable of doing damage outside their home court, then it will be a whole new ball game. No matter how you see it, or no matter how it may happen or not in the future, if Barcelona manages to get something big, especially a win in Moscow, then it will be an amazing result that changes all the perception about the team. Now, if on the other hand Barcelona loses again, and if they lose big from the get-go, from the first round of the EuroLeague, they will be in trouble. I think that there's not a lot of patience left in Barcelona after all those years and after all the troubles that the team had, and ultimately last year the return of Coach Pesic on the bench didn't produce many things. Of course, Barcelona won the Copa del Rey, but the summer they lost their long-time captain in Juan Carlos Navarro. The fans are enraged by the way that Navarro was not able to say his final goodbye on the court. So I think that Barcelona has all the tools. They have a great roster, but they are also stepping on a very thin ice at the moment, and every little piece of treble may derail them. That makes this game more interesting than anything else. My pick of Friday will not be Chimki Olympiacos. It will be Zalgiris Baskonia. We have a team that was the Cinderella of last season and competed in last year's Final Four against the hosts of the upcoming Final Four. I don't think that it gets much better than this. Okay, so it's prediction time. Let's start with, I think, an easy one. I'm picking CSKA between Panathinaikos and Maccabi. I'm picking Panathinaikos. I see Anadolu Efes beating Bayern on the road. I think that they can do it. Real will beat Darussafaka. Armani Milano can also do it on the road against Budućnost. I'm divided in the game between Chimki and Olympiacos. I think it's gonna be a close one, but I will go with the home side. I believe that Chimki has better chances at this point. The game between Zalgiris and Baskonia will be more than interesting, and I think that Zalgiris will get it. And finally, Fenerbahce will not have any problem beating Gran Canaria. It's not a surprise, I think, for everyone who is listening to the podcast that I'm betting on the home sides.
Now, I don't want to sound cheesy, but guys, I'm so happy. I'm thrilled that the boys are back in town and reunited. Man, it's a blast.
Yeah, well, it's good to have the season back. Great as always to be back talking to you, the listeners, and with you two guys on this show. Sorry I had to miss those first few. The job has gotten that little level of crazy. We even moved office. The day we're recording this is the day we moved office. My desk situation, let's not have that become an internet thing. I'm just going to say, yes, I have a new desk because it's in a new building. And that is all I'm going to say about that. Okie dokie. Yeah, so life is good-ish, I suppose, as good as one can hope when you're middle-aged. And but most importantly, life is getting about to get a lot better. Because in all seriousness, having regular basketball back during these dark winter months is so good. In particular, like just getting us through the evenings and obviously, this show is about EuroLeague, but between Euro Cup's return and all the other competitions, national leagues, and all the FIBA competitions, because I do watch the Basketball Champions League and the Europe Cup. Hope that isn't controversial. It's just great to know that you can flick on a game just to take your mind off things. So that's really good. So great to be back on the show, and yeah. You can always find me at BIE_basketball, ballineurope.com. The Facebook, of course, is Ball in Europe, and the YouTube is as well. And, well, I'm about to hit the road again in a few hours after we record this. So, no matter what time of day you are listening to this show from Dublin, it's good night.
So this is goodbye for me for this week. It was nice to hear you again, guys. You can find me as always at Eurohoops.net, at the social media of Eurohoops, at my personal social media on Facebook and Twitter. And also, you can watch me or hear me at Cosmote TV.
And I hope you all enjoyed the first episode of the season opener that followed the special preseason edition that we did. Now, with that being said, yeah, I think it's time to say goodbye, at least for now, for this week. So you can always find me, but just before you find me, please do subscribe. Press that button on the SoundCloud account. It matters a whole lot. So yeah, now that you've done that, go and find us all, and specifically me on Twitter at MosesB1 and at I am Team Scout. The Facebook page of Team Scout, my Instagram account, MosesB1, and yeah, well, I think we're gonna take it mellow this time. No gator swimming, no base jumping. Just cold drink, sit down, relax, enjoy. Until next time.